that seriously just happened? It's lubed up worse than a P. Diddy freakout session. Welcome. Today we're going to be doing a comparison between two opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to catch cans. We have expensive versus cheap. How will they pan out? First starts, let's dive into the expensive one here. It's backed by its quality, its versatility, and its engineering to back it. This has countless hours of engineering that went into how to build this. This catch can is made by Improved Racing. This is part of their race series. It is a externally vented, but you could also opt in order to get the internally vented into your intake manifold. That's what I did right here, and later on I will be using this. But a little bit about this can. It has two AN12 ports, which is equal to about 3/4. So massive ports on this thing. And then it comes with a filter media inside here, and it comes with a second filter media if you were to get this one all messed up. In the case that you use this, you would take this off and take that filter media out and use a supplied O-ring that this comes with in order to put that in there, which will then give you two inward AN12 and two outward AN12. This comes in a 0.1 liter, 0.5 liter, and 1 liter. Just depends on how much room you have that you could actually put this. It has 360 degrees of movement that you could do on the bracket and the upper fitting, so you can clock where you want your hoses. Let me just show you that right now. I don't have this installed, but let's just plug you in there. So with that inside there, this is not able to come out. Pull that off. That comes off. This is able to go back on there and can be clocked in 360 degrees. This would then go back onto there like so. And to remove the whole can off the bracket, you just have a thumb screw right here. Spin that out.
Nice.
And just look at that. That right there just never gets old. On top of that, this whole deal can be clocked in whatever direction you want it to go. Also, a thing to note, this can go on that way. So you have 3 points that you can put your lanyard on and your thumb screw on, and this can go like that. So you technically have a point there, 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 and there. So, good to note, this has a lot of adjustability in order to install it. Just like that. It's back in there. At a starting price of about $300, this isn't really something that, it's an investment, really it is. But for the quality and the finish, just beautiful CNC machinery on this. I am really digging it. I think this is gonna work for exactly how I want it. Uses, this can go on anything. If you can fit it, it's gonna fit. Side note, if you need to put this in some places, let's say that you're not going to be able to get this, or in a bumper, you can opt, they have a plate that can go right here, and it'll give you a port so you could drain it from externally and not have to actually remove the can. So, they literally thought of everything on this. Now let's get into the cheap one. So this one right here, I think you can get for about 40 or 50 bucks on Amazon. It's just a generic one that's for the 5764 on the chargers. I've seen very, very similar ones. They sell upwards. I think it's the exact same can on American Racing for over $100. So there's really nothing to this. It's kind of a generic. It is a bottom removal, which means you need to have the room in order to take this off and dump it, right? That's kind of stiff, but not too bad. For what it is, it's not bad. The only problem that I see with this, for one, we're going to find out if it even works. but it has 1/2 inch ports versus the 3/4 ports, which means this one flows with, considering it's 2 in, 2 out, and this is 1 in, 1 out, only 1/2 inch, these are 3/4. This literally flows 4 times as much as this does. So the capability of this might create a bottleneck within the system and could create oil leaks. You know, your front main, your rear main, that crankcase gas to go someplace, your blow by, and every engine is going to have blow by, even a brand new engine. So this could create a problem. I haven't heard of anybody having an issue, but for sure the port sizes are minimized compared to what the factory put on there. So in a consideration of going from factory to this is actually creating a restriction. So just thing to note. So let's dive into the internals on these. Like I said, I already had that removed. Let's pull that off, and there we go. You have the cartridge for the expensive one. The the blow by goes into there. Oil gets separated. It has a screening. You're not gonna be able to see it in there, but inside here it has a baffle system. So before it ever even gets down into here, it's going to go through a baffle. It's going to drop out oil, separated gas. Then it has a screen system inside there, and it all kind of just gets channeled. All the liquid's going to get channeled down, and the gases are going to come out of here. This is by far like the most complex. It is such a small, well, it's a large package, but this is small, and all the separation is going to happen right here. So I am really curious to see how this handles a stress test. I'm sure it's going to do great. I don't know about you, but very well thought out. And nice thing about this is because, so if you look at other ones, so let's just take, I hate throwing names out there, but Motion Raceworks. So it kind of goes down. So this right here, or right there. So you have technically that much space that you could hold liquid volume before it would then start backing up and then going out of here. So that's just kind of something to note on there, is how much fluid can this actually hold? What's your, how much is this cartridge going to restrict in it? And when you look at like Motion Raceworks, they have it, it goes down like 3/4 of the can, and then it's in there. So if you get anything above that point, you're then going to wind up backfeeding, and it's going to come out that side, or it'll create a restriction and you won't be able to flow out. So there's that. So let's dive into the cheaper one. So this will come off like that. You're gonna struggle. You're definitely not gonna do this with one, and it's gonna be weird. And you have a plate right here. See if I can get this off. There we go. Worst part is I've had this apart a couple times, just kind of looking it over. So it has, you know, baffling in it. It has mesh in there. This is baffling. This has mesh. It's just surface area is not really great on that, and it has another screen right there. So the thing that I wanted to kind of take is, so if you look inside there, let's see if I can get this right up to the camera. So if you look inside there, your internal ports on this, they're actually a lot smaller than what that is. So your restriction is actually even greater with these fitting choices, and like they just barely even fit in there. So that's about what they can put in there. So that's just thing to note. It's the restriction with this one is greater than what that 1/2 inch is. So we're probably looking about like a 3/8 on this in comparison. So this is like 10 times as, flows 10 times as much probably. So nice thing is they did have an option in there. You can pull this out, but all these fittings are like glued on there, and they don't want to go anywhere. So just take that note if you're going to try and modify one of these to work with what you want. These fittings don't want to come out. So there is that. So that's enough of the side-by-side comparison. Why don't we get into a stress test on this? This is actually, I'm going to do the same exact test that Motion Raceworks put their can through. Just see how these size up to it. Where you have a volume of oil inside of a hose, and I'm going to inject that in with air. We're just going to call this the devil came to breakfast test. This is when all hell breaks loose and your engine's puking its gut out. You're probably not going to put your can to this extreme, and if you do, I think you got bigger problems than the can itself. But this is just a good comparison to see if they can handle it. So let's get after it. Alright, so now since I got the test all set up, so on the can I just had this plastic fitting that I'm using for this test purpose only. I tossed one of the AN12 plugs that this can came with. It does come with one AN12 plug. If you buy this, it came with a second one, so I got two of them. So we have, what size hose is this? I don't know, 3/4, something like that. 5/8, whatever it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up this dead leg with oil. Full disclosure, I'm using 520 V-Twin Mobile 1. It's just whatever I had laying around. And then I have the air compressor set at about 100 PSI that I'm going to inject into here. Hopefully this thing doesn't fly off the table and get everything disgusting. I have a rag. Let me just like that. There's the rag. I'm going to wipe this, make sure it leaves no traces. And let's get this thing filled up. Have my air compressor ready. And I'm just going to add oil to it. See if I can keep from making a giant mess. Here we go, more than that. We'll see how that looks. So, actually a good size amount of oil there. Going to add this in, seals up there nicely. Oh yeah. And please don't get me soaked. Okay. There we go. Wow. So with that, I do have some bubbling up here. Not terrible though. So just a little bit of residual that came up into there. That's 100 PSI on this thing though. I don't know what that one's gonna do. So that's test on this one. So I'm gonna get everything swapped over to this can. We'll try that out. I think it's gonna make a mess. Alright, so now we got the cheap can set up. I kind of have it zip tied because I couldn't find a hose clamp. Maybe it's just gonna blow off. I don't know. I'm gonna try and go easy on it. But we have the hose hooked up. This is the same hose. It's connected. There's your in, there's your out. Let's get it filled up with oil. And we'll just see what it does. Make sure you guys can see this good. There we go. That's probably all I'm going to put in there just because this can's a smaller capacity. But go ahead and put you on there. Oh geez. Okay, see if I can kind of hold both of these at the same time. So here we go, fire in the hole. Oh geez. Did that seriously just happen? Okay, I'm not using this. That went straight out of there. My workbench is covered in oil, along with my Alienware laptop. That's sweet. So that happened. Shit. Well, now since everything on that side of the garage, including my Alienware laptop, is lubed up worse than a P. Diddy freakout session, there's really only one answer for which one wins. That's this guy. That cheap one, while it might catch something, poses restriction and, well, didn't pass that test. Yeah, P. Diddy was here. So with that, this going on the car, I'm going to start building the bracket for this. Get this thing all plumbed in. So look down in the description. I got a link for these that you could use in order to find these. I'll also put in there different applications. Maybe you want something that's just a little more plug and play that they also have. You've seen it. Their catch cans work. You could trust them. So till the next time, no lube.